In this video, I'll share with you a week-long itinerary through the Mighty Five that will fill you with memories,
oh my god, that's cold,
and provide epic scenery for your camera. There may be a few surprises along the way.
Take shelter immediately.
Let's start with Zion National Park. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Jason Yoder. I'm an Arizona-based photographer who enjoys capturing the world through the lens of my camera. I hope you find this channel entertaining and inspiring as I take you with me on my photography journey. Subscribe to my channel to enjoy more videos like this. Located in the southwest of Utah and closest of the Mighty Five to Las Vegas is Zion National Park, known for several epic hikes like Angel's Landing. This was where we spent the first 2 nights so we can give Zion a full day. We started the day catching the park shuttle to the last stop so we could hike the Narrows. I recommend that you bring a spare set of shoes to change into. You're about to get wet. The hike into the Narrows is a little more than a mile with some occasional wildlife encounters. We got there first thing in the morning to avoid the crowds. All the videos I watched about the Narrows recommended a single long hiking pole. After watching people stumble and fall, I'm glad that I had my 2 hiking poles for stability. Well everybody, we're hiking through the Narrows here in Zion. This is going to be a good opportunity for me to try out that technique I showed you all a few weeks ago about how to remove people from your images. We're going to try it out in this canyon. It's getting cold. Woo. Oh my god, that's cold. Woohoo! Okay, so this is what happens when you're carrying camera gear through the Narrows. Oh my god, that's cold. Whoa! That's cold. Well, that was interesting. And now time for that trick. I am taking many photographs in manual mode, so all the exposures are the same. I'll put a link on the screen now so you can watch how I'm going to get rid of all the people in this photo. Here is the final result. As you can see, the canyon fills up quickly. The next day, we are on our way to Bryce Canyon National Park. But first, on the drive out, as we're heading up the switchbacks, I had to take a few photos. About 20 minutes outside the park, we arrive at the Thunderbird for their famous homemade pies. As we approach Dixie National Forest, which surrounds Bryce National Park, we decided to take a bit of a detour. We saw a sign for Casto Canyon and decided to do a little dirt road driving. These hoodoos are cut from the same rock as Bryce National Park and offer a different perspective from the crowded overlooks of the national park. I took this time to capture some drone footage to sell online. Back on the main road, we had treated to more views of the beautiful Dixie National Forest. Now, for the reason that we are here. So last time I was here, it was epically cold. But right now, Bryce Canyon is epically beautiful. Bryce Canyon is easily a sunrise park. The overlooks generally face to the east. From here, look at the shadows. You'll see the warm sunlight reflected off the canyon walls, causing areas to appear as if they are glowing. Our hike this morning had us descend portions of the Navajo Loop Trail. This route also took us through the Navajo Loop switchbacks. I used the walls of this canyon to provide a natural frame for this image. At the bottom, we switched trails to the Queen's Garden Trail for the ascent. This is something to remember while hiking at Bryce. What goes down must come up. Look carefully at the top of this hoodoo. Do you see Queen Victoria? Here's the statue of the late Queen and the hoodoo named in her honor. Just remember that as the summer sun rises, this hike will grow steeper and hotter. After lunch, we drove around some of the back roads of the National Forest looking for wildlife, but we didn't have much luck. We returned to the park for sunset and one more pano. With rain in the distance, a slight rainbow can be seen. Now, with the sun at our backs and the absence of the bright glare of the sunrise, you can enjoy the grandeur of the natural amphitheaters. Our next stop is Capitol Reef National Park. Since the scenic drive was closed, this was only going to be a day stop for us. On our way to the park, we stopped at some of the overlooks. This lone tree stood out amongst the dry and rugged landscape on the west side of the park. The west side mostly has colorful red rocks and sheer cliffs. I used my zoom lens to do a panorama of one of those distant cliffs. We did about a half-mile hike on the Chimney Rock Trail, which gave me the opportunity to capture this pano. By this point, the heat was starting to get to us, so we turned around and headed back to the Jeep. We enjoyed the pies at the Clifford House. These pies were so good, we had to go back and grab some more. On our way out of Capitol Reef, heading east, the landscape dramatically changes into a zone of gray and white badlands and mesas. As we continued on to Moab, we were hit by a powerful storm. Remember this, it's going to provide for some drama later on. Canyonlands National Park is breathtaking. Back in 2021, I took a more backroads entrance to Canyonlands through BLM land, along the Green River. At the time, I didn't know that this was a permit-only area, which means before you travel on the 4x4 route through the park known as the White Rim Road, you need to register and get a permit in advance. Once that was explained to me, I settled for a campsite outside of the park. For this trip, we're hiking the Aztec Butte Trail. This is a trail for the more sure-footed hiker, but it gives amazing views. There's also a surprise at the top: ancient ruins. But if you are willing to hike this treacherous cliffside, you'll see where indigenous people took refuge from the sun. From this overlook, ancient people would be able to see food or potential threats in the rugged landscape below. Hiking over to the other butte in the distance gives us another surprise: a granary. This is where food and medicine would have been cached. It also served as another vantage point to look for game or threats to the travelers. This was a great place to sit down in the shade, take in the view, and snap a few photos. We also made one more hike to Mesa Arch. This arch is a bit of a surprise because of how small it actually is. Instagram can be a bit deceiving. The view down is more interesting. I used the arch to provide a bit of a frame for some distant formations. I also decided to compare the difference between a 100mm zoom at 30 megapixels and then at 500 millimeters. This Canon RF 100-500 really has some reach. I think this photo shows you the extreme rugged terrain of the area. The zoomed-in photo really helps to further illustrate that this area is almost completely impassable and very hostile. This was a good day trip to Canyonlands, but things are about to get interesting. Back in Moab, what was about to hit is going to be no joke.
Dust storm. Whoa. Think Moab's about to get hit hard.
In the last week, the downtown area was flooded. Now another major storm is about to hit. My wife and cousin are taking shelter inside the mall behind me. Moab is in a valley, so we had almost no warning this was coming.
Hurry up, hail's coming down.
Things are about to get really bad.
Oh, jeez. Flash flood warning. Get the high ground now. Do not enter floodwaters.
We drove through Moab after the storm had passed just to see the flooding.
Oh, big. Yeah, I just got that video.
Did you see a big puddle the Jeep went through?
Yeah, that looks like fun. There's a debris in the road. That's why everybody's going around here. Thank you. Oh, wow.
Our final day is in Arches National Park. We arrived very early in the morning. During the summer months, you have to apply for a timestamp to get into the park. But you can enter the park between 7 a.m. and after 4 p.m. without a reservation. We're driving through most of the park to the Devil's Garden trailhead. For you landscape photographers, you should be seeing a lot of opportunities. Here's a photo that I took last winter during sunset with the petrified dunes in the midground and the La Salle Mountains in the distance. These thin canyons will be the norm on our way out to Landscape Arch. Looking at the trail on Google Maps shows you what looks like the earth turned up on its side. Up ahead is Landscape Arch. We wanted to see the 290-foot span before nature took its course. In the 90s, it looked like Landscape Arch was about to lose its never-ending battle with gravity when a few large pieces fell off. Since we're now in the broad daylight and it's a cloudless sky, my photos are not really up to par. I'll have to return here sometime in the future and try again under more dramatic conditions. We stopped by Pine Tree Arch where I used it as a natural frame for a photo. We went to one more arch, but I'm going to wait for another 2 weeks to show you Tower Arch. I'll be sharing with all of you the back way to this very remote location. For you Jeep lovers out there, this was some of the best rock climbing that my Jeep has ever done in a national park. When we returned to the main road of the park, the weather was beginning to turn. A storm system was moving in. We stopped at the Fiery Furnace viewpoint to capture the storm clouds as the last light of day struck the La Salle Mountains. The rapidly changing light offered multiple dramatic photos. The warm light of the sun, struggling to find a way through the clouds to my back, sent warm light horizontally through the landscape, separating the cooler blue hues on the ground and the purples of the rain in the clouds above. But we decided to move on and try to capture the drama of the last light of day passing through a downpour over the rock formations of the park. And so ended our time in the Mighty Five. The Mighty Five offers a wide range of activities and dramatic landscapes. They're places where you can find solitude and create new memories with your camera and your family.